Hey there, so here I am walking outside. I'll show you in a second so I get across the road without getting killed. Behind me is where I work. The other place I work at a university. And we just finished our little festive gathering for the holiday season. And I have to say it was kind of bittersweet because maybe you don't know, if you don't know me or where I work and all that, but we went through what was called an insolvency a few years ago. Actually, it was a bankruptcy. And it had some really disastrous things happen because it meant that a whole bunch of people lost their jobs, a whole bunch of programs were cut, and sadly, this was not the only insolvency / bankruptcy that I've survived in my career. So, the other one wasn't a university. There were a lot of questionable things that happened with this, and I'm not an expert in finance by any means, or all the rules and regulations, all the ins and outs, but I can tell you a few things. A process was used for the insolvency that was meant for private companies. Since I understand that since we went through this, the government has added to the legislation saying that it can't be used for public organizations or public, organizations. It can only be used for private companies. But it allowed, at the time, the administration to do some really awful things, like people being fired, 100 people being told to get on a Zoom call and then all being fired en masse, having no severance, no recourse, nothing. Programs were cut, nothing. Things were done without any collaboration, consultation, and they could be under this insolvency plan that they had. Okay. So that was a few years ago. I survived. I still belong to the organization, but it's a different place. Honestly, we just had this little event and the vibe is completely different. I can say that all the people in higher level administration, except for maybe one, have changed. And they're lovely people. And don't get me wrong, they're well qualified. I think, though, it was a lot coming into an organization that had gone through what we had gone through. The profs who are left really, I don't know. There's been a shift in the way people feel about the university and how they feel about the organization. For me, university aside, I love the teaching. I love it. I love the research. So I don't want to leave because of that. I don't want to leave because of the insolvency. I still find great deal of satisfaction in my job. But I can tell you this. If anyone thinks working for an organization that they are exempt from all kinds of financial issues, then think again. If you are in a public institution in Canada, for example, if you are in a hospital or a clinic or a school or something, anything that is that has oversight by a board of governors or a board of administration that has fiduciary responsibility. In other words, they're in charge of the money. Then that could potentially end up being a problem. And it's hard because if you're me, I'm a nurse practitioner, I'm a prof. I am not a financial person, but I do know that if you have no money coming in, you got a whole bunch going out, you're in trouble. So I know enough about that. And I think it's difficult when you can't trust that the people who are making these decisions are working from the best interest of the organization and making sure that it will be sustainable long term. Okay. That's skirting around the issue, but I just having some thoughts, I guess, as I leave the university today and shaking your head and saying, wow, it could have been so much different. It could have been so much better. And it's really, really sad to see where we've come. But I'm still here.